Uh-oh. There we go. Uh-oh. What? There we go. My bad. A little bit of a little tech issue there. Sorry about that at the beginning. Okay, welcome on in to another politics. So today I want to talk a little bit about China and the United States. This is a big deal. In the United States, we have this belief that China is the big bad enemy. And you have a very Nikki Haley-esque feeling of anti-sort of China. And one of the things that will become very important over the next year leading into the election is going to be the United States relationship with China. Now, the Financial Times actually had some pieces on exactly this in their paper this morning. And what you're finding is this relationship between the United States and China starting to strengthen again. They specifically referred not only to obviously the conference that we saw where, you had BlackRock, Blackstone, Tim Cook, Elon Musk, Xi Jinping, and American leaders all in one place. But you also have this newly announced partnership between the United States and China on newer military efforts in the South China Sea. My thesis, separate from what we heard from the Financial Times, my thesis is that China, and we talked about this a little bit in our podcast as well, which is posting later today at 3, the Meet Kevin podcast. My thesis is that because you have a weak Russia, which is a strong partner to China, China is actually saying, or coming from the angle of, well, I'll attempt to use an analogy here. This friend of mine is broke. This friend of mine has a Lambo and a Ferrari. I'm going to go hang out with the rich buddy. I think you have a little bit of that going on between the United States and China, where China is like, my Russian buddy is sucking. I'm going to go enjoy my U.S. buddy and cozy up to the U.S. For example, let me read this out from the Financial Times. President Xi Jinping plans to renew China's panda diplomacy with the United States. He has promised new pandas for American zoos. Yes, literally. That's in the Financial Times right now. But anyway, this is a way of introducing that there's been recent progress made on reducing tensions. For example, resuming military communications after years of tension over potential conflicts in Taiwan. Discussions have been made, obviously, about chip sales and advanced chip sales. However, those curbs still remain in place. So there's still definitely tensions in place between the U.S. and China. Don't get me wrong. Things are not perfect. But China's economy is suffering. China's stock market is in the toilet. The real estate market, which is the foundation of the economy, substantially more, 3 times the foundation of the economy than it is in America, is suffering. So China, in my opinion, is looking for a trading partner. Where can we sell more of our Chinese goods to? To whom can we do so? Well, America. America will probably be the strongest economy to recover out of this complete disaster of going from high inflation to potentially deflation. America, I think, will be the strongest through this. So I think you're at a place where China needs to strengthen ties with Western aligned nations. That's going to be South Korea, Japan, the United States, and Europe over Russia. In my opinion, that is potentially one of the reasons you are seeing strengthening of support for continuing the war against Russia. Because really what you're doing is you're fighting a proxy war between the United States and Russia by arming Ukraine. It's Ukrainians donating their lives for the sake of their country, funded by America, which desires to crush the growing power of Russia. Very interesting. So, basically, for example, there's this foreign affairs piece that I've been paying attention to. It says, or the headline is, "Can America win over the world's middle powers?" And really, America has a really good sales pitch, right? Strongest country in the world, economically and otherwise. So their argument is, since Russia's invasion of Ukraine in Feb 22, many Western analysts contend that Moscow has become increasingly isolated and lost much of its international influence. Putin was indicted for war crimes by the ICC, although that doesn't do much because he's not going to leave Russia. And over the course of the year, we've held conversation. Well, the foreign affairs here is saying we've held conversations with experts and policymakers from Brazil, India, Indonesia, Israel, Mexico, South Africa, and Turkey. Across the board, we encountered a reluctance to take sides in what's seen as a European conflict. So what's interesting here is this: you're not really seeing the world say, oh, we definitely support America, oh, we definitely support Russia. Instead, what you're seeing is countries saying, we're kind of going to stay out of this, but we want to economically support or partner with the strong economies. And I think that's a lot of what you're seeing now is an economic and trade-based focus rather than we're going to take sides. And you're going to see that throughout the world as, I believe, America purposefully depresses Russia. Remember this, a lot of people are fearful about the sort of the BRICS takeover, that the BRICS combined, Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa are going to take over the world in terms of having the strongest nation, or combined nations. You encompass about 42% of the world's population. You've got about 27% of the world's land. There's a belief that BRICS could create their own currency. So if you think about it, what a fantastic way to destroy the ability of BRICS to counterbalance Western influence when you crush one of their largest members, Russia, while partnering with one of their next largest members, China and Brazil. Very interesting, sort of from a foreign policy point of view, the tightening of relationships that we're seeing with China. Now, the question is, do we want those relationships to be tightened or not? In fact, a lot of folks who support Donald Trump want less support for China. And this is why it's going to, this whole Chinese issue is going to become very, very popular, I think, over this next cycle, and will be a critical talking point in debates and otherwise over what are relations going to be like with China. Well, remember relations between Trump and China. We had Trump-China tariff wars all the time. It was nonstop. In fact, that was some of the largest volatility that we had. This was, withdrawing from the proposed TPP. You have a pulling out of the Paris Agreement on climate change. You have him meeting with, Kim Jong-un, the blaming China for COVID. And I'm not here to argue that any of those were right or wrong. Just simply here to say that it's very obvious Trump is not the biggest fan of China. He's as he brands himself as America first, which is very popular and gets a lot of votes. The question, though, becomes if we have normalizing relationships or relations with China under Biden now, does potentially some of that progress get unwound under a potential second Trump presidency? I think the likelihood is very high that, yes, you would have weaker relations with China between the United States under a Trump presidency. Then the flip side, though, is that what people want? Because, after all, we know that China steals our intellectual property. They should be punished for that. We know that China is a very strong force that eventually could take over Taiwan, which Taiwan Semi presently manufactures 90% of the advanced chips in the world. So you have massive problems if you have war or conflict between China and Taiwan. Would be very bad. And so then the question becomes, where is this war more likely? Under Biden or under Trump? And obviously that's up for debate, but a lot of people would argue that Biden is more likely to be supportive of the Chinese government, much like you see that from Gavin Newsom visiting China, the Pelosi's, But then again, Pelosi visited Taiwan, so you have a little bit of a balancing act there. But still the general impression of the populace is that the person who's more tough on China, Trump or Biden, it's obviously going to be Trump, with I think a 90% degree of confidence. But this will be something that's very important for our economy over the next decade, because China exports deflation to America. That's very important to remember. The more we can manufacture in China, whether they're Teslas or otherwise, Teslas, chips, solar panels, electronics, computers, nuclear power plants, generators, these are things we actually do, plastics, raw materials, toys. The more we can manufacture in China, or quite frankly, other developing areas as well, whether it's Indonesia, the Philippines, whatever, the cheaper it is for us to have stuff. So goods become much cheaper, which is actually a good thing. You want cheaper goods. This deflationary force allows people to have more, increase their standard of living, because you have more goods that could make your life easier and make you potentially more productive at work, or give you cheaper accessibility to iPads, computers, phones, whatever. So positive relations with China is probably a very good thing from an economic point of view. I would not want to see absolutely destroyed relations with China. And it doesn't surprise me that the United States seems convinced to continue this fight with Ukraine and Russia, because I want to look at this. Let's look at our trade between Russia versus our trade between China, right? So United States trade with Russia. Let's compare that. So let's look at some numbers here. So, and I'd like to get some numbers before the war. So I need 2021 numbers. All right, here we go. So U.S. foreign direct investment in China was $9.6 billion in 2022, 21% decrease from 21. Okay, so we have some numbers here. That's fine. U.S. exports of services to Russia were about $2.8 billion, about 32% less. U.S. goods exports to Russia were about $1.7 billion, down from about $4.7 in 2021. U.S. goods and services traded with Russia were estimated to be $20.2 billion in 2022. So let's say it was 30% higher in 2021. $30 billion worth of trade with Russia. Well, if we U.S. trade with China is like over half $500 billion. Yeah, here we go. So U.S. goods and services traded with China in 2022 were $758 billion. Wow. Holy crap. Russia is meaningless compared to this. Even if I double, which most of these numbers are down about 30 to 50%. So let's double. Hold on a sec. Goods and services exported to Russia. Oh, we're actually down about 74%. Okay, so that was $5 billion from 2021. $5 billion, and the total was 20. So what was U.S. goods and services trade with Russia 2021? Let's see if I can get that actual number. Okay, here we go. 2021. Okay, we are balance. No, we have imports of 29.6 and exports of 6.3, so 36. $36 billion in 2021 with Russia. Okay, now divide that by, go to the Chinese number, which is $758 billion in 2022 for goods and services trade. 758 divided by 36. Oh my Lord. Folks, think about this. Why do we war? Just like economically for a moment, okay? Why would you rather want war with Russia over war with China? China is responsible for 21 times the trade that Russia is responsible for with the United States. $758 billion of trade with China, $36 billion of trade with Russia. It's like here compared to here. So, of course, if you're going to weaken somebody in BRICS, let it be Russia. Very, very interesting. I find that very interesting. Wow. I didn't even consider that, just the trade disparity. Because when we think of Russia and China, we think of them as so almost equivalently large. Let's see, Russian population. Well, no, actually, wow. No, it's more land mass you think of. Yeah, that's interesting. So China versus Russia land mass. So we know the population's substantially different. We'll pull them exactly here. So 10 largest countries in the world. Russia, Canada, then China. How interesting. Canada is larger than China in landmass. Who knew? By landmass. And actually, the United States is right there as well. Canada, China, and U.S. are roughly equivalent in landmass. Wow. Did not know that we were that close to China. We're almost the same size. By some measurements, we're larger. But Russia is about twice our size, landmass-wise. But the population of Russia is actually very small relative to China. 143 million. I mean, that's 200 million less than in America. So what, like 40% of America? But, well, let's see. 143 divided by 330. Oh, 43%. And, but compared to China, 143 divided by 1.4 billion, you're looking at 10%. How interesting. 10% the population, but 5% the trade. So even on a per person basis, China is much, much, much more valuable from or for America than Russia is. And that makes a lot of sense. Anyway, okay. So, all right, let's go take a peek at, we did have Biden, by the way, did sign the continuing resolutions. So we have the budget kicked down the road. The budget can has officially been kicked down the road, which is good. We are 1 week, by the way, from Black Friday. How weird is that thing? Santos being referred to as probably done. We have he's in real jeopardy of becoming expelled and being the first member to be expelled since a Democrat from New York was convicted of bribery in 2002. So that'll be the first time in 21 years that's basically a fraud's been kicked out of Congress. That might have to happen a little more frequently. All right. House Ethics Committee released a report Thursday alleging that Santos improperly diverted tens of thousands of dollars in campaign funds for personal use, secretly controlling a company, funneling him more than $176,000 from his campaign, falsifying financial disclosures and campaign reports. When I ran for governor in California, that campaign finance report, it was detailed. It took a lot of work. And I mean, we're very good with our finance stuff in terms of like our receipts and our documentation and everything. But they don't mess around, especially not the California Finance Department. But honestly, that's a good thing. There should be public transparency, especially if you're running for any kind of office. No doubt about that. All right. So let's see here. It looks like today there's an expectation that George Santos might actually end up facing a resolution to call on Santos's expulsion. Santos has announced that he's not going to seek re-election. He probably has no funding anymore. Like, who would donate to this guy? This guy's screwed. He belongs in jail. Then we have, we expect all Democrats to back the expulsion, and you need about 77 House Republicans to support the expulsion. Speaker Johnson's office has released a statement Thursday evening, considering the Ethics Committee report on Johnson was troubling. Scalise didn't respond. And now we are, so I mean, that's the biggest news inside of Congress right now, beyond the stopgap bill getting passed. Then we have the California Republican, Kevin McCarthy, is helping donate up to $3 million to various different vulnerable lawmakers to try to support them from getting, or to help support them from staying in office. Remember, a big deal for Republicans right now is maintaining control of the Republican House because it substantially limits what Biden can do. It's generally just the first 2 years of someone being in office that they have substantial power. After that, things really wane down. How interesting. Netanyahu saying, I need more ammo, demanding urgently that more money be sent to Israel. Keep in mind, we don't actually expect more money to be sent to Israel until probably after the holidays, specifically because Republicans have supported $14 billion more, but Democrats are saying, no, we want $106 billion because we want to fund Ukraine, Israel, and Taiwan. Israel specifically requesting more Iron Dome interceptors and 155 millimeter artillery shells. Wow. Let's see what that looks like, by the way. Those are like howitzers. Yeah, I'm going to show that up. I'm going to pull that up on screen for you here. Look at that. 155 millimeter. Boy, that's 15 centimeters. 15 centimeters. That's 6 inches. Wow. 6 inches. What is that? What is that? I don't know how big that is. Something like that. It's pretty big. 6 inches. I'm sure there's a joke that could be made there somewhere. The gun was also, this is the howitzer cannon. In service since 1942. Wow. Although you have you have World War I versions of these howitzers. Very interesting. Smoke grenades. Yeah, look at that. Type HE, high explosive, smokes, colored smokes, mustard gas. No way. Mustard gas shells. Very interesting. Dummy rounds. Wow. Current operators of these howitzers. Well, let's see. Where's Israel on this? They're not on the list. Oh, well. Anyway. Okay. Very well. So Ukraine also needs these shells. Ukraine's using them as well. There's skepticism about Johnson's decision to pair the $14 billion of Israel aid with equivalent amounts of cuts to IRS funding. That is vote gathering right there. That is how you appeal to the base. That is exactly how you appeal to the base. You say we are going to cut funding for the IRS. Nobody wants more funding for the IRS. Come on. Well, I guess more on the left do. After all, that was a Democratic priority. Biden's looking for that. I guess some are quoting it as 105. Some are quoting it as $106 billion. Some still calling on Israel to push for a ceasefire. It's going to be a while. A lot of drama still going on with the FDIC about navigating political turmoil here, as they apparently now are using FDIC funds to go on, like resort outings and book, luxury hotels or whatever. Whoops. It's probably not a good idea to spend government money like that, but I'm sure it happens more often than not. So as far as other political news, obviously, but we've talked about it so much already. You've got Elon Musk and the anti-Semitic comments. Look, I think the easiest way to sum it up is like this. Elon had a choice. There was a video posted about reducing hate. Somebody posted a comment increasing hate. Elon had a choice. Do you reply to the video reducing hate or reply to the comment amplifying hate? He chose to reply to the comment amplifying hate. It's that simple. There's no debating that. That occurred, and it's unfortunate. Oh well. So let's open it up and see what folks have in terms of commentary here. And let's also take a peek here to see what else we have on the Hill. Okay. Oh, yeah, feel free to ask questions. It feels like we need another month before Black Friday. It does. It's too soon for the holidays. Best part of Meet Kevin's Chaos Theory. Poverty chat is on. That's awesome. Yeah, that's awesome. It's going to be entertaining because I'm actually very, very excited about separating content because it's going to take some time. I would say it's probably going to be about 6 months to really get everybody kind of used to where all the content is. So that's going to take time. But we're committed on it. We're very excited about this and rigid schedule, creating more content where people want it. And I think that's very exciting. Christie clashes with Newsmax host. Oh, what is this about? Chris Christie clashed with Newsmax over Trump in the presidential race. Now's not the time to change strategy. Okay, well, I mean, Christie bashing on Trump is not really news. Like, a lot of people think he's just a paid Democrat now because of how much he bashes on Trump. But then again, like, you have to differentiate yourself also. And he's certainly differentiated himself. Not in the way that people want, though. Grand jury for Hunter Biden in California, potentially. This would be very interesting. A lot of drama comes to light through these grand juries. It'll be so neat to see some of these expand on all sides. Manchin on near fight in Senate. It looked like a third world country. When they've got to a fever pitch where they want to fight, they're calling each other names. It looked like we were in a third world country or banana republic. Fights about funding. Apparently, people in Congress are calling each other clown and fraud. That sounds like the toxicness of the YouTube comment section. Wild. What's Haley's take on the Osama bin Laden letter? When you look at social media, I've long said that we have to ban TikTok. And if you don't know why, there's another example today. The Osama bin Laden letter going viral on TikTok. I don't know how many people really support the censorship. I don't know if Haley's winning votes on that. Although a lot of people see, and this was in the Financial Times as well this morning, there's a piece in the FT about Haley actually gaining more popularity within Republican communities. Here it is. Wall Street mega donors a warm to Nikki Haley as their anti-Trump Republican. Nikki Haley's strong performances in the Republican debates, and you have to say, she's pretty good in her debates. Her and Vivek, very, very powerful in the debates, have won over several of the party's biggest donors and intrigued Wall Street figures. Kenny G, by the way, is still considering donating to and supporting Haley. She's going to need a lot of money to support to actually beat Trump, though. That's going to take a while. Meeting with Larry Fink from BlackRock, Goldman Sachs president. Wow. Fundraiser actually hosted by the Goldman Sachs president. Billionaire Stanley Druckenmiller, traditionally a big GOP donor, announced his support on Monday. And New York-based donor Eric Levine said he would host a fundraiser for Haley in early December. Wow. Big donors have praised Haley's foreign policy nuance, electability, moderate stance on abortion. Wow. Positive view on America. Wow. Nikki is on fire. A lot of positivity here. I mean, who wrote this? Who paid for this? This is in the Financial Times. Wow, there is some real growing support for Haley after these last debates, which the viewership for the last debates has been plummeting. You went from like 12 million to 9 million to 7 million on Fox. Let me see what polls we had today. Wow. New Hampshire, you've got Trump 46, Haley 18, DeSantis down at 7 in New Hampshire. Holy crap, Haley's coming up. I mean, there's still a massive gap between Haley and Trump. Right? See, but then again, you go to Emerson, California, you have Trump 63, DeSantis 11, Haley 5, Ramaswamy 3. Go to, let's see here. How about, I want a general. General election, Trump v. Biden, Trump, Fox News. Haley versus Biden, Fox News 11. We saw that yesterday. We're going to watch the numbers on Haley. Don't count Haley out. She's sneaking up. She is sneaking up. Definitely. Nikki Haley is definitely not anti-Trump. I would agree with that, actually. Did I say that? Did I say I was talking about Christie with that? I don't see her as anti-Trump. I think I see her as different, though. And that's the way she should brand herself. You know, like, you don't want to come across the Republican Party as anti-Trump. It's bad. Trump's VP lays. I wonder, could you get Nikki as a VP? I think Nikki as a VP would be more balanced than Vivek as VP. Find that very interesting. When did everyone go from calling everyone a Nazi to hating Jews themselves? A little bit wacky lately. I don't know that we can paint everything with a broad brush like that, but I do agree with you. It does feel weird. There's a lot of like tension, especially on Twitter. I absolutely I agree with you here, Squiggle. You're actually going to see in our podcast we go deep on the podcast on the Osama letter. Lalo here says, yes, finally I can be out of podcast. Nothing personal, Kevin. I'm just not a fan of podcasts. Are you saying, so do you prefer this kind of content where it's just solo me on the politics over the podcast? That's actually, by the way, one of the reasons I'm creating these separate channels. And again, it's going to take a while for it to like grow to where it shows up in everybody's feeds. But I'm just going to put the effort in and we're going to grow it. I have no doubt in our ability to grow it. Subscribe for everything else. That's actually the point. We wanted to do that. So, okay, Squiggle here. In the podcast, we talked about the Osama letter in detail. Let me be very crystal clear about that. Osama bin Laden is a disgusting human being, and sympathizing for jihad is also disgusting. And that's what Osama bin Laden is suggesting, is that you should be sympathetic towards jihadists who go to kill innocent civilians because their taxpayer money goes to support their government who attack them. That is the wrong answer. Absolutely disgusting, and you can't stand for that. So, but TikTok and Twitter. Oh my God! I don't know why I had to. This is okay. I'm gonna uninstall it again right now. So this is the problem. I installed TikTok on my phone again because I wanted to see. I wanted to look at one of the videos Christian uploaded that we put on TikTok. But then I got suckered into scrolling on TikTok for 20 minutes last night, and I was watching everything from like firefighters putting out fires to like, deer getting hit by Teslas and then like cats being afraid of water. And I'm like, what the hell? Like, I could see how you could get lost in this for hours, but it's just so unproductive. So I just deleted it again. I can't stand it. I can't do it. Yeah. There's always Instagram, which I don't go on there much. The guys always make fun of my Instagram. I don't go on it much. The guys always make fun of my Instagram. I don't know. Should we show my Instagram? Anyway, it is a time suck. Love TikTok, but it's time suck. That's for sure. I like the pod. McKay and your analysts are getting more comfortable voicing their opinions and their perspectives. True. McKay did a fantastic. Mikey's doing a great job putting our outline together. He's doing great. I love it. Love his commentary. But McKay had a great debate with me today on Mr. Beast. I actually really love it. I love debate, mostly because it lets everybody think about different perspectives. And there are definitely some moments where I'm like, damn, it's not a bad perspective, McKay. So great job. You'll enjoy the pod. It was fiery. Very, very good. Yeah, it's probably not healthy. This, and that's why one of the things I don't go on here much, but this is my Instagram. So this is like, well, there's a plane model, and then we have models. I think that's just like every dude's Instagram. So let's just like promptly remove that. So, all right. 0. Hold on. Jack is asking me, how much money do I have on my Lego list? 0, bro. Period. Step it up and start working again. That's my 8-year-old. Okay, so look, this is very important. The Trump v. Biden is going to be very critical in terms of how China evolves. I am not massively anti-China. You are one of the reasons I deleted TikTok. I need to delete Facebook as well. You don't have to copy me. I just find if I want to do productive things in my life, having it on my phone is not a good idea. The same is actually true for Instagram. Just remove it. But anyway, China v. Biden. You probably will have softer relations under Biden. Now, again, I'm not advocating for either presidency, but I do appreciate that China exports deflation, and it is surprising to see how much stronger that Chinese economy is for trade purposes compared to Russia for us. And it almost makes sense. If you're going to break somebody down in bricks, let it be the weaker. I wonder what trade is with Brazil. Let's see if I can get it. So, U.S. trade. Wow. Yeah. See? U.S. goods and services trade with Brazil was 120 million. 758 divided by 120, 6x. So China is 6x the trade of Brazil, but China is 20. No, wasn't it 40x? Yeah, it was like 40x. Yeah, it was 40x. 40x Russia. Maybe it was 20x. No, it was 20x. 20x. Yeah. 36 to 758 or whatever. Wow. So Brazil is 3x as valuable as Russia. So stay friends with, if you look at BRICS, you stay friends with China and Brazil because they're economically the rich ones, trade-wise. Whereas punish the weak one. India's up there as well. India was at 85 billion. No, total goods and services, 191, more than Brazil. Oh my gosh. Look at almost all of BRICS. Now I got to look at South Africa. This is such interesting perspective. South Africa, United States trade. Oh, small. Wow. 25.5 billion, but that's almost the size of Russia. So basically, befriend the biggest and strongest, India, Brazil, China. Forget the volatile nuclear power loser of Russia. Punish them. Go to war with them. Ukrainian people donate their lives for that fight. You fund it. And now you destabilize your nuclear power, which actually makes China trade more with America than it does want to trade with Russia because Russia's economy is suffering. So China can't export their deflation to Russia. They want to export it to the United States. It all makes sense. All makes sense. Anyway, folks, thank you so much for being here. I am getting ready to publish a Tesla video on the main channel. Hope you stay for that and watch that. We'll see you there soon. Thank you so much. That'll be up within about an hour. Thanks again. Goodbye.